Tonight, we're going to give Corione the night off so he can celebrate his anniversary while we take over the discussion to talk about Spider-Man news, Star Wars news, and give our thoughts on Lanterns on tonight's Entertainment Information Intelligence Podcast. And welcome once again to tonight's Entertainment Information Intelligence Podcast. I am joined tonight by Mr. Pollo Zapatos.
I knew I forgot something.
What?
I was so excited for Lanterns, I completely forgot it came out this Sunday. I thought it came out next Sunday.
Well, that's fine. We've got an action-packed, we also got a fit. Let me guess. You watched all of Spider-Noir, though, didn't you?
Dude, I'm on episode either 5.5 or 6.5.
Okay. Well, that's fine because we're going to conclude Spider-Noir next week.
Yeah, I'm almost done.
But Hannah has a few things to say about Lanterns this evening, and I do too. And so we'll try to. Dude, we'll just talk about it and see what you think from there. But until then, we do have several other things that we got to get to. I also need to get the background music going before I get too into the show. Gosh, what am I doing here? Getting ahead of myself. That's what I'm doing. All right. And there's our background audio going nice and quietly there at the correct, dB settings. We got Simon Dusk is already keeping the stream up in the background. So yes, guys, if you can't watch the show with us, we definitely are good background noise. We promise we don't really do the whole dead air thing, and usually the stream that comes after us is something good. At least I hope. But yes, for now, we are the Entertainment Information Intelligence Podcast. If tonight's your first night, you should probably click that like button, that subscribe button. Give us 5 minutes to try to win you over. We're going to go through some stories about what's going on in the entertainment world. We're going to give you our honest thoughts on whether we are excited for them, what we think. And then at the end, we've got a discussion regarding the new Lanterns TV series that just premiered on Sunday night. And so we will talk about that as well. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the news. Avengers star Sebastian Stan appears to confirm he's playing Harvey Dent, aka Two-Face, in the Batman Part 2. And if there was any kind of casting announcement that could potentially actually get me excited for that movie that's long overdue to release, it would actually probably be Sebastian Stan as Two-Face. Sebastian Stan has seemingly confirmed his role as Harvey Dent in Matt Reeves' long-awaited The Batman Part 2. While the Avengers star has previously been linked with the role, both Stan and Reeves have notably refrained from confirming his character definitively. Indeed, back in May, Stan simply said he would play many roles in this one, an ambiguous comment that fans took as a reference to Dent's dual personality. Now, however, in an interview with French outlet Le Journal de... Stan has seemingly stated the role as a matter of fact. I can't say anything about the Batman Part 2, it's reported, he said, where I play Harvey Dent. Well, I guess it gets as official as that. Just coming right out and saying it during an interview, I guess. I mean, I can't really blame him for just wanting to spill the beans at this point. With how long this movie is waiting to get to the screen, it's ridiculous that they're expecting him to stay quiet any longer. I mean, like I said, this actually does kind of, get me excited for the Batman Part 2. John, what do you think?
I saw the first one, so I was excited for the second one. I didn't really need much convincing. I love how much Twilight Shiny Vampire has grown into such a fun character and actor to follow. His career doesn't make any sense. That movie should have ruined him. And instead it made him one of, the greatest sensations of the 10s.
He has come back more powerful than we could have ever imagined. I agree.
Well, dude, and faster than everyone else.
Right.
If you think about it, the guy who played Shaggy got, shoehorned into very like TV shows and like some Netflix streamers and some movies. Like very, very few things. And then all of a sudden, the Shaggy meme came back, and everyone was like, "I love that guy." And then they started seeing him in new stuff again, and they're like, "I really like that guy," and now he's back. But like, that took almost a decade.
Matthew Dillard, I think, is his name.
Edward Cullen, he never went down. He somehow soared in the shiniest vampire series of all time.
Oh, you mean Robert Pattinson.
No, Edward Cullen. I'll be the one to remember if everyone else is going to forget. He was the shiny vampire named Edward Cullen. And
you don't know if he sees this, we're gonna eventually get a chance. It's gonna come down because with how long this movie is gonna take to finally hit, he might be one of our first celebrity guest actors. I should say we already have a celebrity guest writer, a celebrity guest actor, and he's gonna be like, yeah, so my agent saw that Pollo Zapatos just doesn't want to see me as anything other than Edward from the I've really moved on from Twilight, so I'm gonna have to say pass on your guys' interview. And that's because of you.
That's exactly not how it's gonna go.
Oh, okay. Like, I'm open to your alternative hypotheticals.
Come on and he'd be like, "Wow, I can't believe you guys, a bunch of dudes and one lady, remembered one of my original classics." Because he made a shit ton of money. It does not matter how I feel about that movie. Like, those movies made a ton of money, and he's doing very okay with himself.
Yeah, but Batman. I think he wants to be. Like, he doesn't want to get the John Heater or, Captain Kirk syndrome.
What are you talking about? Like, I don't know if you remember. This was back when, like, the internet was creating cult sensations.
And, was it now?
Drama.
I wasn't. I was only there every day, so
mass media hadn't figured it out. Like, this was the whole Edward.
They still haven't.
Name debate. And obviously, you know which team I'm on because I can't remember the other one's name. So, if his agent actually listens, he'll know that I'm not exactly shitting on him. I just remember where he came from.
I know, but it's some actors, like, they just don't want to be. It both is and isn't. Like ultimately,
they grow up to be William Shatner. So if they're gonna come on here, they're gonna get razzed for
it's Shatner's finally gotten over it in recent years. But at the same time, it's like that's the thing is like you can't. It just obviously goes over so much better when you just embrace the role and the character and what you're known for, and that's
especially if you acknowledge that you didn't write it. Like, if you go, I improv'd a lot of that big damn.
Yeah, fair
enough.
I
could tell.
Fair enough. All right, Spider-Man, Brand New Day hits $2 billion globally to top No Way Home as Sony's biggest release. Which, honestly, I'm not surprised. It's actually a really great movie, just like No Way Home was a great movie. Spider-Man Brand New Day continued soaring in its third weekend at the box office as it becomes Sony Pictures' highest-grossing release of all time, while fending off newcomers The End of Oak Street, which I'm probably not even going to waste, and the Paw Patrol the Dino Movie. Oh, man! Spidey-Man beat out Paw Patrol? Brand New Day pulled it... Huh?
Who'd have thought?
That was like the thing this is actually kind of a big deal because this used to be
price gouging is still in effect. Like, the majority of people can't afford to pick, so now that they finally got enough to go see Spider-Man, they're not going to go see Paw Patrol instead. Their kids can see.
Do you have any idea like how huge what you just said is? Because that was the thing is back in the day when a Spider-Man movie, whether we're talking, Andrew Garfield or Tobey Maguire era, anytime like a superhero movie came out, you could not compete with whatever family animated movie. Doesn't matter what it was at the time. It's probably like, Pixar accepted, sure. But like if there was a Minions movie or, Despicable Me or just any kind of like Shrek 3 even, I think, like if a family movie came out with a superhero film, those were the two that were pulling it in. The fact that Paw Patrol got sidelined, I mean, you're right. Like, part of it is the economy that they have to choose. Okay, are we taking the little kitties to Paw Patrol or Spidey-Man? And, I mean, John, I'm pretty sure it's a pretty even vote across your house. You're all going to Spidey-Man. Yeah, I mean, I remember what household I grew up in with you alongside. I don't think that's probably changing much.
Well, not only is it not changing, it's not like I'm going to sit there and give options when it's something I want.
Oh, absolutely. Like,
I will absolutely retain the power because, like, one, I'm not sorry it was Spider-Man. Like,
right.
Every other option wasn't going to be as good. And two, like,
Paw Patrol
on Netflix 1,000 times anyways. I don't want to see it in the theaters.
Right, yeah, exactly. Paw Patrol is what you endure at home when they're at home watching it on repeat. Anyway, Disney Brand New Day pulled in $70 million to top the domestic box office for its third consecutive frame. This adds to the film's historic run as it lands the second best third weekend ever, behind only the $90.2 million that Star Wars The Force Awakens scored in its third weekend after opening late in 2015. Right, and that's because we were all hyped up for, oh my gosh, it's episode 4 retooled, but we like it now because it's different, but it's not, but it sucked. Starring Tom Holland and Zendaya, Spider-Man Brand New Day hits the North American total of $785.8 million for its first 17 days to rise to number 4 on the all-time domestic chart, surpassing Avatar at $785.2 million. Next on the list, at $814.8 million, is 2021's Spider-Man No Way Home, which marks Holland's previous lead turn as the Marvel web slinger. So yeah, there you have it, folks. People want to go see superhero movies still. That's what's dominating. Not even the family animated no-brainer did not no-brain the way it's. So now I will say that as a brand, Paw Patrol is not necessarily as big as certain other brands, but
no, it's not a good or bad. Like honestly, in this case, it's really like for them or for us. And Spider-Man's for everybody, and the movie was for everybody. And that was actually pretty impressive. Seeing as how like almost everything lately that's made for everybody misses most. Whereas like Spider-Man, which is made for nerds that love Spider-Man, somehow every generation so far has been absolutely enamored with Tom Holland's Spider-Man. And that's a W. And I feel like more than anything, this is just proof that if you do it the way we always told you to,
give us what we want, we'll show up. It's a tried and true formula of the last several million years.
Like when you give us what you want and tell us it's exactly the same as what we want, look at your box office scores. Because when you gave us what we wanted, we were all here.
Yep. Alright, turning now to IGN. No disc, no buy comments dominate Sony's Phantom Blade Zero State of Play live stream as planned PlayStation boycott nears. Oh, we're planning it near. We haven't started yet. We're just getting near it. Sony held its planned Phantom Blade Zero State of Play live stream with somewhat surprisingly the comments turned on, and they went exactly how everyone thought they would. The YouTube chat, for example, was dominated by no disc, no buy comments, which drowned out comments about the promising-looking action game itself. It was a similar situation on Twitch. None of this should come as a surprise, given fans had called out the first State of Play since Sony's announcement sent shockwaves through the video game industry as a likely battleground for the ongoing backlash to the impending end of PlayStation disc production from 2028. Or, well, in 2028. Will buy when it's available physically, read one comment. Wow, it may look great, but it will look better on a disc. So make that happen and keep happening, said another. Does Donnie Yen come on disc? Joked one person. Yeah, no, that's pretty substantial screenshot of people just constantly. I mean, the question is how many are authentic users versus bots. That's what we really want to find out. But yeah, Phantom Blade Zero is just the latest game to find itself drowned out by the no-disc backlash, despite it and its developer, S-Game, having nothing to do with it. Gamers have continued to call on Sony to U-turn on its decision, signing online petitions and swarming over PlayStation social media posts to express concern about video game preservation and ownership. Complaints have also come from other groups. The UK's Digital Entertainment and Retail Association, for example, called Sony's decision a triumph of corporate convenience over consumer choice. Meanwhile, backers of physical media have called on gamers to boycott PlayStation for a week in August to send a message to Sony that its decision to kill discs is unacceptable. Like, what are we talking about? They're just gonna sell my games and my PlayStation for a week and then go back and turn around and buy it back again? Anyway. We've talked about the end of physical media. I think we talked about it a little bit last week, and I think that really it's probably not... If people want physical copies, then there are ways that we could still do it. If we want to phase out disk usage and go to flash drives, that's probably the smartest way to do it. I mean, that's already basically how the Nintendo Switch did it. They give you a little physical kind of disc, and then you download the rest of the game anyway. But Nintendo's not interested in phasing out their physical media. In fact, Nintendo seems to be intent on staying with physical media for, well, indefinitely. H. Marie, do you have any thoughts on the physical media boycott?
I mean, I like having discs. I like being able to, be able to play my games and have it physically. And having them on my computer is nice, but if my computer goes down, I don't have access to those games anymore.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, that is important to well, yeah. It's just, every company that's tried to do this, well, the soldiers on the battlefield aren't really our market, guys working on submarines aren't really our target base, and it's not really gone well because, well, those are the guys that are... Well, there's a whole other debate. We can get into that. But the point is, it's not very popular to be soldier for a good reason. So, yeah. All right. A Ghost from the Past returns in new Slow Horses Season 6 trailer. I don't want to get too into this because I feel like we should catch up and probably start reviewing Slow Horses again, even though I'm all the way behind in Season 2, and we'd have to do Season 2, 3, 4, 5, and eventually get caught up to 6. But it's one of those shows that I remember we watched and we really liked, and we should probably get back into it. All right.
I thought it was okay. Honestly, I tried watching, I think I finished Season 2. Or at least got like halfway through it. To me, it's a really slow burn.
Oh.
I like the premise, but also it feels... I don't know. It feels like it should either be funnier or less like crazy scenarios. Like, it really does feel like it's threading the needle between Archer and James Bond, but unfortunately, like, the boring needle. And I wish just it would be a little bit more Archer. But also, I'm behind. It could have got better. I have no idea. But I see it like, it's really more like a B- that could easily turn into an A. And I'm willing to give it that chance.
Fair enough. All right, back to IGN here, just keeping the story flow going. Battlefield 6 player with over 400 hours gets full refund from Steam after key modes were removed. A Battlefield 6 player with hundreds of hours of playtime has scored a full refund of the game after Battlefield Studios removed key modes from its quick play matchmaking. Over on Reddit, the player revealed that Steam granted them a full $110 refund of the game's Phantom Edition, saying they got upset after developers continued to pull modes from the game's quick play matchmaking. They noted that it began with Squad Deathmatch and King of the Hill, but once Rush, a Battlefield staple, was pulled, they requested a refund. Steam famously refuses to grant most refunds unless the game was purchased in the last 2 weeks and you've barely played it. However, the player wrote a note to a support agent explaining their feelings and why they wanted a refund. Valve seemingly thought it was a valid enough reason and granted the refund outside of the usual terms. Whether or not this will spark more refunds remains to be seen, but it does show that some fans are fed up with games radically changing throughout their life cycle. yeah, I mean, from games that didn't, deliver what was expected, like, I don't know, Halo Infinite, and now the latest slog of crap, Campaign Evolved. So inspiring that I played the brand new prequel missions that were supposed to, like, hype up the game, or I guess you play them after, because, holy crap, are they bad. Van noted in their Reddit post that the developers don't get to remove the game modes I play and still keep my money. The aforementioned modes are still available in the game, but they're only available through Portal, the server browser. When I went to find rush matches in the server browser, all the lobbies were completely empty. That may be an error, but even still, it makes it difficult to find a lobby with the mode you want to play. Quick Play solves that by putting you into a game with enough players in a relatively close region to manage ping. Battlefield 6 was the biggest game of 2025, but lost a lot of players in the weeks and months following its launch. Some were frustrated with the amount of content that was being released, others demanded quality of life changes, and some just moved on to other games. Battlefield 6 has managed to win back some players since the launch of Season 4, which added naval combat and massive new maps, but it remains to be seen if it can sustain or grow those player counts from here. According to Steam charts, Battlefield 6's player count rose nearly 20% on the platform alone with the launch of the latest season. However, the removal of modes like Rush aren't moves that will keep players, as evident with this story. Well, and it just seems like every subsequent Battlefield game is trying to recapture the magic of 1941 along with its modern-day mods, which, from what I understand, is still popular.
What are you talking about? Dude, every Battlefield game is trying to capture the magic of Call of Duty with sacrificing everything everybody liked about Battlefield.
Fair enough. I can agree with that.
Why aren't you guys still here? Like, it said 20% increase. There's a reason they chose percent rather than the actual numbers. Like, if you were to actually look at the data, it probably went from like 100 to 120 players. It's abysmal. I drop on every Friday night because I still hope and believe in fairy tales that they might just quit trying all this bullshit and just do an open server thing like they used to and just let you pick and play the matches you want the way you want. Like, every time I try to go and see if I can play hardcore squad deathmatch, number one game mode from Battlefield 4, in my opinion. Not there. I don't understand how EA can have all of this IP, all of this data, and not port the old maps to the new levels. Like, none of us really give a shit about the storyline. We mostly play for the multiplayer, the huge chaotic wars that we can actually enact, and then you keep making them smaller because Call of Duty made it smaller. And it's like, no, Call of Duty couldn't achieve what you achieved.
Call of Duty,
and then you stopped focusing on what you were good at.
Right, exactly, because at the time that, Call of Duty came out, Battlefield 1941 is not a cinematic experience the way Call of Duty is. And it's not meant to be. Call of Duty is supposed to be like you're playing a movie. And Battlefield is like playing a strategy game. But you're the, foot soldier, not, the guy clicking all the foot soldiers to go places. So it's, in 41, we already had all of these features. Like, we just added naval combat. You mean you added a feature that your oldest title had since, the beginning? I mean, come on. You didn't do the Battle of Iwo Jima and try to get in the aircraft carrier and go ram the other one to sink it? That was fun as hell. Or, having amphibious cars and like I said, the modern warfare mod that they had for Battlefield 1941 I think it's called Desert Commando or Desert Commander or something. It was also basically a community mod that ended up being endorsed by the developers as an official mod so they could use it on the servers and players would play this all the time. But that magic has to be consistent. And that's why players are going back to games like Battlefield 4, for example, or, any of the older titles that already had all the features that 6 supposedly had or took away. It is changing. And so the moral of the story is figure out what your game is supposed to be and just either stick to that, or if you're going to be ambitious, you gotta follow through, you gotta deliver. So, alright, switching now to Lost Ark game news. An update on Lost Ark in the West, and this comes to us from the official PlayLostArk.com forums, so here it is. After nearly 5 years of shared adventures in Arcadia, we are writing today with an update in the future of Lost Ark in the West. Starting in early 2027, Amazon Game Studios will end its live service operations of Lost Ark, with Smilegate taking over going forward. We are excited about the future of Lost Ark and feel this is a positive outcome for the game's players, as we are handing the game back to the developers. This way, their passion for Lost Ark will live on and players can continue their adventures in the world of Arcadia. Whether you joined us on day one or discovered Arcadia more recently, you are the heart of this community. Every raid completed, every tap, and every friendship, and it goes on with nice long sentiment. So yeah, basically the long and short of it here is that Lost Ark is going back to the hands of the developers. They will no longer be published by Amazon or have to answer to Amazon. And honestly, to me, that's like huge news, because the developer taking over their operations for the West version of the game it's like, really? We're now decoupling from giant corporations? Well, that's lovely. So yeah, John, I figured you'd at least appreciate the news of that yes, no, it is not going sunset. It is not ending its service. It is just ending its association with Amazon. So all the more reason to play. If you haven't checked out Lost Ark, you definitely should.
Who would have thought that decentralized production would lead in better quality of production? That's right. I've been saying it for almost 5 years now. Hashtag called it.
And honestly, Lost Ark's been releasing consistent updates often, and they're pretty quality. I mean, they, new classes. Like, there's so many classes to choose from to play, and they're all fun. They all stand out on their own, for their own reasons. All right, we're gonna go ahead and throw the political warning up, because it's time to get political. Gonna get political. Yeah. Ugh. Rosie O'Donnell crushed her Kimmel monologue by doing what Jimmy Kimmel doesn't. Well, this is off to a good start. What did you expect when Rosie O'Donnell was announced as making her talk show return by substituting for Jimmy Kimmel as a guest host on ABC's Jimmy Kimmel Live? You probably expected O'Donnell, after leaving Donald Trump's America for Ireland in 2025 in search of a more peaceful life, to come out swinging at the president. You probably expected O'Donnell to come across the way conservatives paint her, angry and strident, going full blast at Trump's second-term corruption allegations and policy blunders. What viewers got instead, during the first night of O'Donnell's week-long stint, was so much better and more interesting. Monologue that said a lot about her and even more about what's lacking in typical late-night discourse. First, O'Donnell shared that she hasn't slipped at all since her days hosting her 1990s-era talk show, The Rosie O'Donnell Show. The 64-year-old radiated confidence and charm. O'Donnell nodded to Trump at the start of her 15-minute opener, calling him Mango Mussolini. That's pretty good. And saying, if you thought that the president hated Jimmy Kimmel Live when it was hosted by Jimmy Kimmel, buckle up, people. Media writers covering the monologue predictably seized on those scraps for their headlines. But the rest was almost entirely focused on O'Donnell's fish-out-of-water experiences as an American settling into her new life in Ireland with her 13-year-old child. She told anecdotes about Ireland's drinking culture, cab drivers, being a famous person abroad, and especially her attempt to romance a kindly pharmacist. The criticism has been made many times that current late-night shows, including NBC's Saturday Night Live, are Trump-obsessed. They also tend to be obsessed with the media, Hollywood, and breaking news because that's the world late-night hosts and writers know. And that's what everyday conversations can sound like when you work in Los Angeles or New York. On the other hand, O'Donnell's monologue was a refreshing fare because it was about living a normal-ish life, and interacting with everyday people. She also, by and large, seemed rather happy. Again, not a word that Trump supporters would typically associate with O'Donnell, or for that matter with Kimmel viewers who would likely associate with Kimmel. The move abroad, it seems, has been good for O'Donnell, and as her friends have told reporters over the past couple of years. At the end of the monologue, O'Donnell predicted Trump is going to be angry because she didn't talk about him, and perhaps so. She'll surely have more to say about the president over the next few shows, giving Kimmel's audience the latest red meat. But if the best revenge really is living well, then O'Donnell seems to have gotten hers. I would have to actually watch the monologue myself to confirm all of this, but which, given that the channel has enough copyright infringement, I'm going to honestly come out and say that that's exactly why we're going to switch the politics off. We didn't need to bring that on, honestly, because that's exactly what late night is missing, is just focus on what the hell is going on out there. John, I don't know if you remember our routine as kids growing up when we would watch the news before bed, but one of my favorite segments, of course, was the Idaho Life segment with John Miller on local news channel 7 in your region. And I think that's also what we kind of also enjoyed about our era of late night talk shows, because we had Jay Leno monologues, and he was just making fun of typos and headlines and mostly focusing on, being an entertainer and talking about, stuff. He'd bring on, wildlife enthusiasts, actors. It was like, but he actually had a show. Like honestly, I gotta give her credit that she probably watched some Leno monologues and was like, oh, we're gonna go ahead and do this. And, good for her. If she's happy and she's not bitter and she's actually, putting her money where her mouth is and actually committed to living a different life in a different country, and it's like, they're right. The best thing to do at this point is to just move on and go, well, that's that. I mean, we all know that Trump's eventually going to be out of office. He will not be in power for much longer, probably out as early as next year if the world can be so lucky. But she's not buying into it anymore. She's not playing into the feuding. She's actually choosing to be a bit more highbrow respectful. And I gotta respect that because, well, that's kind of how we try to be here. So, any thoughts, John?
I don't give a shit what Rosie O'Donnell's doing.
Fair enough.
That's a more pro-Iraq, pro-Afghanistan, pro-war in general for war's sake. Like,
what?
Oh, I'm glad you're having a nice life.
Hold on. Say again.
Wasn't Rosie O'Donnell pro-Iraq?
No, she is staunchly anti-war. She was proud of her son for serving in the Navy and supports him as a good mother would, but no, she was not. She has been anti-military industrial complex. That's why she's probably so calm and collected when, talking about Trump being a loser. So, it's...
Dude, I don't know why I don't like her, but I don't know why.
Because she used to be a very bitter and angry and just, blowhardy person.
That was on the MSNBC show. Like, I can't remember listening to her.
She had her own show for a while, but then she did get into the politics, and, she's always been a nemesis of Trump even before the politics, though. So that's always been funny to watch.
That's never been something I care about.
But as far
as I don't know who she is. Like, I thought she was actually a senator for a minute there. But that was somebody else. Condoleezza Rice.
Condoleezza Rice was a cabinet member. I don't know if she was ever actually a senator.
Member. That's the one I was thinking of.
No.
I thought she was a cabinet member.
No, and it was not.
You have no idea.
Condoleezza Rice also looks very, very different from Rosie O'Donnell.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm aware of that. The names.
Two very different people.
Are the same to me. I feel like they were brought up in the same conversation. Like Rosie.
Yes. So Rosie was in the public sphere and the public ire at the same time as the Bush era was about when her politics really started to get annoying. And
I was like 5. I don't give a shit about any of that.
Okay, but if you're gonna be a pop culture commentator, you gotta be aware of the history.
No, more what I'm saying is like I can't hold that against her, but I also I can't remember hearing her being like novel about anything. This idea that she moved to Ireland, it's a little bit novel, but also like rich people getting rich. I just don't care about network television and what they're selling ever. So I don't really believe that like if they're bringing Rosie O'Donnell on, I don't think it's because she actually stands for the populist message. She stands for whatever she's paid to stand for.
Yeah, I don't think she does. I don't think she's a shill as much as she used to be, but we'll see. All I know is that based on the actions of setting the example and not, turning it into a Trump bashing parade.
Oh yeah, no, I can respect that part.
Exactly.
Honestly, I thought that was funny. The best bait and switch I've heard in a while. Get ready. And then you're just sitting there waiting. It didn't happen. So like a lot of people probably watched to see it happen. It's just like, yeah, thanks for the views.
Honestly, I hope she comes out tonight on tonight's show and goes, all right, well, Trump is in the news, so you all can go watch it on those other channels. We're going to talk about, some baking in Ireland or whatever. But see, the point is a bit self-centered, sure, but she's trying to redirect the purpose of late night to go back to, an actual show of just entertaining people. Yeah, we can talk about the politics. We're not afraid to talk about politics every now and then, but our primary thing, especially on the entertainment information intelligence podcast, is entertainment industry news. And with that, we should probably get back into it. All right. Yes, here we go. The big Star Wars rumors discussion that I've been looking forward to discussing. We actually put out a 3-minute covering this particular article. Dave Filoni confirms Disney isn't making scrapped Star Wars movie The Hunt for Ben Solo right now. Lucasfilm president Dave Filoni has confirmed that despite the push from fans, Disney still isn't working on its scrapped Star Wars movie, The Hunt for Ben Solo. Variety pressed the Clone Wars orchestrator about a shelved Steven Soderbergh project after last night's Disney Entertainment Showcase at D23 2026. Considering fans have been pushing Disney and Lucasfilm to bring Adam Driver's Kylo Ren back for The Hunt for Ben Solo for months, it shouldn't be a surprise to hear Filoni has been expecting to be asked about the project for some time. Someone was going to ask me that in this line, he said with a smile. I'm surprised it took this long. That's really cool. All right, we're going to play this video from
What about The Hunt for Ben Solo?
Someone was going to ask me that in this line. I'm surprised it took...
Before you play this video, it was 50,000 people.
What?
It was only 50,000 people that signed that petition for the Where's Ben Solo bullshit that Kathleen Kennedy paid to hog Times Square for 10 minutes.
Wow, that's 50,000 butts in the seat, bro.
000. Yeah, I get it.
For us, that's a lot of people. That'd be a lot.
An indie release for a Star Wars. You consider that the fan base. That's all I'm saying. I mean, let's just remember how many people it actually was that were.
What about The Hunt for Ben Solo?
Someone was going to ask me that in this line. I'm surprised it took this long, so that's really cool, but we're not making that picture right now. That's all I can say.
So a lot of people have interpreted that as though he's, they're actually secretly working on it, guys.
Wait, I don't know if you heard that. That was the most mumbled right now. He was like, we're not actually making that right now. He had to call it back. He was about to say, no, fuck no.
Yeah,
and they're
here's where the article gets confusing. Filoni, gesturing with the reference to the Jedi's hand-waving mind tricks, then said, we are not making that picture right now, that's all I can say. He had a similar response, except that he didn't have a similar response, for a deadline. It's not here. You won't find it here. The Force is not with us in that regard. I love the love you feel for it. Okay, that is not a similar response. That is a straight up no.
Yeah, exactly. No, legitimately going, how do I tell the 30,000 people that asked for this? No, without making them feel bad for asking for this. The Force is not with us on this one. We are not making it.
He wasn't doing the Jedi mind trick to be fun and comfortable. He is doing the Jedi mind trick to make you forget it.
That wasn't the mind trick, dude. That was the no, we're not doing that. He was like, no. That was not the Jedi.
This long, so that's really cool, but we're not making that picture right now. That's all I can say.
Not making that picture right now. That's all I can say. He looks like he had a couple of, shots before this interview because he knew it was coming. But the thing is, Dave, we know you guys watch our show, and we're just going to say right out, like, don't waste your time with it. Focus on Thrawn. Get that Thrawn trilogy going. Starfighter looks promising.
Dude, while we're on the subject, did you see the Ahsoka Season 2 trailer?
Yes, I did. Do we want to watch the Ahsoka Season 2?
Yes, we actually have to because I watched it. It was so good. But then also, I didn't do any sound, so I have no idea what it said. I just watched it. I was like, that's fantastic. I love it.
All right.
But also, did you watch Ninth Jedi?
I have not watched Ninth Jedi yet, but I know we need to.
I meant to say something last week. I've already finished it.
Of course you have. You'll have to watch it again then.
I will. It was so good, but like I watched it in a day.
Yeah.
Like in a row every episode. And I was playing video games while doing it. That's Batman. So mostly paying attention to Star Wars.
Fair enough.
But
Fair enough. All right.
It's phenomenal. It's a fun one.
Yeah. All right. Well, here we go.
Tell me, Ahsoka. What troubles you? I'm always walking by your side.
Citizens of the glorious empire, I have returned. I took an oath to protect the empire. I therefore declare war on the Rebel Alliance.
Out of vision.
What did you see?
More. More and more danger than I thought.
Balin claimed to have knowledge of a power.
Master!
One that could end wars.
A long time ago, I walked away from the Jedi.
This is your trial, Ahsoka. Maybe time to decide. Are you a Jedi? Or not?
Yeah. No, I mean, that feels like everything we were expected to get in season 1 that, of course, didn't end up happening. But yeah, guys, I mean,
feel like that's what happens when you let Dave Filoni do his thing.
Actually let them keep the budget they need.
So much more like, let's get the character drama. Like everybody loves Star Wars for character drama and how much Anakin hates sand. Like that's everybody's favorite line. They talk about it all the time on Twitter. We don't. Never did. Almost everybody says if you want good dialogue, go to KOTOR.
Right, yeah. Yeah, no, KOTOR has probably some of the strongest Star Wars dialogue in all of Star Wars, to be perfectly honest.
Well, like maintaining the entire ethos that clearly was illustrated in the actual cinematic universe. And that, I think, is the important part, is like the only thing Dave Filoni has been missing, like even in Mandalorian, Jon Favreau is missing, is dropping the character drama and enhancing the world drama, the universe drama. Like it's a galactic universe, and somehow we're dealing with everyday problems. Like I want galactic characters to be intergalactic and actually do some things within the galaxy, not one or two things across a couple barren wastelands occasionally. Like even Anakin didn't spend that much time on the Outer Rim. Even Luke didn't spend that much time on the Outer Rim. Like getting to the inner core, like we've had so much in between, but for some reason we haven't seen so much in between. I feel like Andor, oh my God, just beautiful demonstration of the in-between. I felt like we were dancing on the inner core while slipping into the mid-rim, barely even caressing the Outer Rim. and that's very fun. Like, especially with how much universe there is for Star Wars to contain and for people to actually get to know. And I feel like this Ahsoka is exactly what I'm talking about. Like, literally 2 galaxies now. And that trailer honestly made me concerned for both. Like, how is Ahsoka going to help? And also, the Rebel Alliance needs Ahsoka's help.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
It's got, yeah, it's this is all supposed to set up for the Thrawn trilogy, and then Starfighter's supposed to get us hyped so we can get the Thrawn trilogy filmed. Although I think they're filming it. Starfighter's going to be the determining factor as to whether or not Thrawn trilogy ends up as a limited series or a trilogy of movies. But honestly, if there's anything to get people ready for, it's to bring back the last bit of legacy OG fans, to recorrect the... And then the other thing is, and I meant to bring, and I'm glad I brought this up, because it does need to be brought up, is the subject of decanonization once again comes up, and whether or not Ahsoka Season 2 and the World Between Worlds will remove or erase the sequel trilogy. So let's make sure that we understand we're having the same discussion, first of all. So some people say it's no big deal, some people say it's entirely pointless, it doesn't matter, the damage is done, blah, blah, blah. Yes and no. It does matter, and I am of the stance that it does need to happen. Not because sequels fans deserve to... Well, they kind of do deserve to have it flushed down the toilet on them, because where were they when the original post-trilogy canon was flushed down the toilet? So you see, the problem with the whole canon this, not canon that, is we have to start with the original offense that began with Kathleen Kennedy. This is important to understand because Star Wars was very special when Lucas created it and he cemented it in his saga. He basically said that the rules for his canon were all the books and all the comics are canon and can all exist as long as they don't, conflict with the original story and they don't change the characters too drastically unless it's like, the point of the story. So like if we do a what if Luke Skywalker fell to the dark side, or all those other, Star Wars Infinities series that were pretty cool to read as comics and would also be pretty cool to watch as animated shows. So the real thing is, this decanonization. So yes, I think it is, because it's not about, punishing sequels fans and Kathleen Kennedy fans for liking the products and whatnot. It's about recognizing that Kathleen Kennedy should not have ever done that in the first place. What she should have done was tried to bring the original expanded universe to the big screen, and could have just made any number of stories and whatnot based on that. But the problem is she wanted to bring in new characters and didn't want to have any royalties to have to pay out to anybody, and wanted everything separate and her name on it, and it was all her idea and all this stuff that was going to happen, and she was going to prove that her trilogy and her ideas were better than George Lucas and everybody else's. And well, that's not how it works. If you don't respect the lore, if you don't respect the creator and the storyteller, if you don't respect the fans, you're going to fail, as we've continued to see with all these products trying to do deconstructions and become platforms for... look at Star Trek right now. Who's watching Strange New Worlds? I'm not excited to watch it. Honestly, we might not even cover it on our Tuesday show, because I've got better shows that I need to keep track of. And even the puppet episode actually looks worse than the musical, to be perfectly honest. This whole... It's not even Star Trek. It's parody. It's Star Trek created by people who hate Star Trek. And it shows. And not everybody on the show hates Star Trek. There's a lot of love that goes into those shows. There's a lot of effort that comes from people that think it's a genuinely heartfelt thing. But the people writing it have no idea what they're doing. And they haven't. They just got lucky with Anson Mount giving us an amazing performance as Christopher Pike. They just got lucky, that fans were willing to give a prequel series a try And in the end, well, it fizzled out because people stopped watching because it was poorly written. And, well, now, of course, all of the Kurtzman era is probably going to get erased with Star Trek United. Whereas that's another product that fans are actually excited about because we have the possibility of Jonathan Archer coming back. And, getting the Enterprise era to sort of recorrect possibly some of these things that the Kurtzman era attempted and honestly was all bad. Does it matter? It matters if you want your stories to continue. How come Homer's Odyssey doesn't get tweaked too hard from its original source material? How come we have to maintain certain consistencies if we're telling a story in somebody else's era that make it, recognizable? Well, it's because if we don't match the character, why does Rings of Power feel out of place? Because it is. Because it doesn't belong. It doesn't have anything to do. It's literally just Lord of the Rings face. And thrown into, modern storytelling instead of just, I don't know, creating a story of a world where you can have sympathetic orcs and you can have, creatures and humans and dwarves and a story about elves in a different universe that's original, that can stand on its own 2 feet, that builds a fan base just based off of something totally new. We can do this, but instead, everyone wants their legacy IPs. Well, that's the problem. If you want to stick with a legacy IP, you have to respect that legacy's legacy. You can't change it. You can't be mad that, George Lucas made Carrie Fisher run around mostly topless because there's no bras in space. That's somehow sexist. Well, you don't get to change the original movie just because you think that's sexist. You can go make a different movie and explain your own feelings and, make in that movie your narratives and your agendas can come through and you could see how that works. It's probably not going to because Star Trek was only 15% lectures, 85% entertainment. And that's the real crux of the issue. Is it entertaining? Because if it's not entertaining, then no one's going to listen. And what, of course, is more entertaining than rock and roll music? And particularly rock and roll music in the Florida Keys. Yes, it's not if. I would really like it if you guys would... maybe once a week tune into Whale 99.5, either on whale995.com or in iHeartRadio, particularly from 2 to 7 on any Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, so you can check out Bill Hobie. Months ago, he had the lovely H. Marie and I on the show regularly. He's hoping to get us back, and we're in talks to figure that out behind the scenes. But for now, we got to return the favor. And we got to return the favor because, I was overthinking the favor. Because even though he's got a much bigger audience than we do, it's not about who's got the bigger audience. It's about mutual respect. And so, yes, if you're looking for that rock that fills the arena, as well as a little bit of taste of local island culture life here in the Keys, as well as, just awesome promoters who, stay relevant within the news as well, definitely check out whale995.com. All right. This next story I have also been waiting for. I've been waiting for an update on this game, and this is not the update that I thought it was going to be. So buckle your hats and get ready, kids. We're going on a bumpy golf cart trip. Or something. I don't know where I was going. Incredibly awkward, cringed, forced, and slightly sinister feelings at times. That's what I was going for. Star Citizen developer stream goes horribly off the rails, creating further distrust among players. Now, if you know anything about video games, you know that the game Star Citizen is an extremely ambitious, crowd-funded project that has been extremely controversial overall in its release. By this time, the developers had promised us a giant galaxy with a very big world, a very meticulous world where you could be anything, whether you want to be a star pilot or somebody working on the deck of an aircraft carrier or a radio man or an admiral, whatever. Your big space dreams await or something. Basically, imagine marketing for Starfield, but developing and delivering something even worse. That's basically where Star Citizen is at. Let's see what happened, according to IGN. A recent Star Citizen development stream went horribly wrong, resulting in some fans losing confidence in the long-awaited sci-fi game. Earlier this month, the team at CIG decided to do a live stream showing off the current internal build of Star Citizen following player complaints over new content in the game. The developers heard players were having a bad time with this content and decided to do a stream of an internal build to paint a picture of the intended experience. Oh god. Essentially, they were hoping it would show players that they're fixing issues and that this is a very temporary inconvenience. Unfortunately, things went terribly wrong, as opposed to horribly. The developers kept running into bugs that showed the game is indeed broken. The developers had issues using their own weapons, swapping between their weapons, accessing their inventory, and much, much more. Eventually, the frustrations among developers grew, and they started becoming passive-aggressive with each other before opting to just pull the plug on the stream altogether. Damn, I'm almost sad I missed this. To add more fuel to the fire, one of the developers closed out the stream by saying they were proud of the work being done by the team, and they wanted to get this build out so players can have the same experience they had on stream, which just made fans feel like they lacked awareness of what happened during the broadcast. It's a brutal watch, and fans have been making fun of the entire experience and expressing amazement over the fact that the team didn't pull the VOD offline. Incredibly awkward, cringe, forced, slightly sinister feelings at times, and the local server gameplay was still terrible. No one was having fun here, said a comment under the stream. Felt like a hostage video. Overall, fan morale is quite low following this stream. Star Citizen has been in development for roughly 15 years and raked in over $1 billion from fans to help fund the development. The game has been in early access since 2017. Jesus. 10 years of early access. But there's no release date in sight. One would imagine that the game would be done or very close to done with all of that time and money, but when major issues like this start popping up, it certainly feels like it's not close at all. Will Star Citizen ever see a 1.0 release? Who's to say? The game is certainly ambitious, but some are starting to question if the team is capable of achieving its goals. In addition to Star Citizen, the team has also been developing a single-player standalone game known as Squadron 42. Yeah, I've been following that since I was back in the Coast Guard looking to play that while underway, and that never happened for obvious reasons. So, I'm gonna just come right out and say it. It's dead, Jim. It's not happening.
Oh, dude, honestly, if you think about it, it's the exact opposite. This is the most beautiful display of a true and proper shareholder call. Like, the shareholders have been asking for something, and the guys doing the work, getting paid for the work, missed. And the shareholders held their feet to the fire. Like, if more shareholders could do this to the businesses they own shares in, we could actually see a positive outcome for all of society. And I'm not even saying that we for sure are going to see a positive outcome from Star Citizen.
We are not going to see a positive outcome from Star Citizen.
Stereotypical CEO corporate response. We can't wait to bring this to you, and so you can have as much fun as you just saw us not having.
Like we hope this happens on Netflix.
Corrupt, absolutely. They don't necessarily mean psychotic serial killer.
Like,
in most cases, it means self-aggrandizing, complete social ignorance and self-flagellation. Like, it just, beautiful. Like, this is why you don't give one group of people a shit ton of money. You give one group some money to do some of the things, another group some money to do some of the things, and you break it down until one group, as a group of groups, releases a finished product. But when you pay 15, 25, 30 people, what? I think the sale currently is like $240 billion raised if you include all of the ships that they've sold for like post-release. It's insane. But this is what happens. Like, shareholders, you kind of have a responsibility to be more than just invested.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think what this does is, unfortunately, it does a lot of, it vindicates the corporate model.
It's a perfect example of a state of the state.
It vindicates
all corporations across the board.
Right, but the problem is we can't, this is not a corporate situation, John. This was crowdfunded entirely. So it basically vindicates...
It turns out it's money. Yeah. When you have too much money and not enough focus, you forget how to focus.
Right, but that's the thing. This basically, unfortunately, vindicates the corporate AAA gaming development model. It vindicates the finding actual funders and sources of money, not, going to the crowd and just getting a bunch of money. Like,
no, it doesn't do either of those things. What it does is,
yes, it does.
If you invest too much early on, you will cause egos to inflate.
Okay, but that doesn't negate the fact that they basically vindicated Rockstar.
You enjoyed this. But no, that's the same thing. The same problem's going on at EA. Like, why is Battlefield 6 suffering right now? Because the guy who got the biggest budget, the biggest bonus for Battlefield 6's success, fired half of the developers on Battlefield 6. Why do we keep seeing AAA games denigrate? Because the guys getting paid the most
they do, but John, you're missing the point here. You're missing a critical point.
These guys are getting paid the most.
They were getting paid the most
still not creating anything
from regular people. Okay, this basically, you have to realize,
some people bought
John,
$30,000 ships.
Okay,
those aren't regular
you're missing
people.
Context. Like, nothing in Star Citizen is funded by anybody except players. Like, that's, or at least that's what they claim.
That's what I mean, though, is like investing in general is supposedly the consumers buying in with their, 401ks, buying in with the S&P, and investing in blue chip stocks. But it turns out the shareholders have to actually hold more feet to the fire. And I think that's what this display
And that's what it shows, is that consumers are not shareholders. Consumers are not invested the way that people, like, yes, we're invested, but now
they put financial investment in, and yes, it's for a transactionary period, but at the same time, if you build a relationship with them, they become your most tried and true.
Right, but that's not what they've been doing. They've just been smoke and mirrors. It all proves that the corporate model is still better.
No, but what they did is the exact same thing every company with an inflated budget does. Like, they could have capped requests.
Right.
They could have paused.
Do you know how? Okay, so you need to go back and you need to understand why this is bad. Because there were so many. Yeah, because there were so many game journalists. There were so many game journalists out there. Please let me get my thought out. There were so many game journalists out there that were talking about how, well, this is going to show that we the people, we can fund our own games and we can make it work and it's all going to be crowdfunded. No more corporations, no more. And it ended up being exactly the same. No different. None of it. All that freaking ideology, freaking talk, all of that was just bullshit.
But in that same time, we've seen people like Light No Fire with No Man's Sky. Phenomenal.
No Man's Sky is entirely, like, I don't know how it's actually funded because it's all internal.
Exactly. And they fixed it because they figured out what they were doing.
They listened.
The only reason that Star Citizen has a problem is they have too much money, too much ego, and not enough awareness of the actual state of the state. But all I'm saying is that now if you look at every single CEO, we see what the central core problem is. The guys getting paid the most aren't the guys responsible for the most.
Except in Sean Murphy's case. Or Murray. Is it Murray or Murphy?
Well, I think in the case of, especially in the case of the Star Citizen writers, these guys are all doing as much as they can, and they are producing some of the coolest spaceships we've ever seen ever. But for some reason, they didn't spend any money on back-end development or front-end development or middle development. And now they're running into all of these issues where it's like, if you guys had a plan, this could have worked. See No Man's Sky. Dude, look at Expedition 33. That was 12 people that said they knew what they were doing, started doing it, and then found a producer to produce it. Like, all Star Citizen proves us is that if you inflate the budget, the bubble's going to pop eventually.
Star Citizen proves that without a proper business plan, without a proper development plan, you can't crowdfund.
That was always the case. Like, I mean, people get degrees to do like game development and budget planning, and like that's more what I'm saying is like, just because you gave these people billions of dollars at this point doesn't mean they were the people for the job. But the same goes for every single fucking CEO.
Yeah. No, at this point, we'd be better off crowdfunding, No Man's Sky, but Sean refuses to take any money for it. So aside from
he felt bad for the state of the state, and now he's got another game that's coming out that looks better but different.
Right.
And I'm excited for it.
Yeah, me too. So if you are suffering Star Citizen blues, 11 out of 10 recommends No Man's Sky. It is a much smaller, it is a small 20 gigabyte roughly size game. And
still the largest map in existence, and it's fully playable.
Yep. Now, I will say we do need to get some variety in the hazardous plants and fauna. It's a little weird that across 256
There's another
galaxies.
new update coming.
Yeah, I know. Cosmos.
I don't even know what it is for anymore. I am so
Nobody
young.
has any idea what, like, the title
so
is
excited.
very ambiguous.
I get the huge vibe that it's going to be something along those lines, because that is the one thing lacking.
Is the hazardous plants. It's like, yeah, look at that new tree. Look at that awesome, creature. And look at that bird. And I've seen that plant trying to attack me before on literally every other planet, including the ones without air. So
You know what would be crazier? Is if instead of it being like, we're going to get rid of all those plants or we're going to diversify, it turns out to be like, no, this is the group that's been seeding the planet, and they just came out with a new batch. And now
that's what
the game is like, how do I find these guys, and why is there only one new thing?
Yeah.
Oh, as the game progresses, now there's 5, now there's 10. The longer it takes you, there's more. You're like, this is a better game than I expected. Because like, it really is. It's where the money means nothing. It's about what you do with the money that means everything. And what the guys at No Man's Sky did, I think it's Light No Fire Studios, what they did was they said sorry with their actions, not just their words. They didn't just put out a happy post. They're like, no, we're working on it. We will get you everything we promised you, and we're not going to ask you to pay for it. Like, when you buy the game, whether you bought it at the beginning or you bought it yesterday, you get everything I got when I bought it at the beginning. That's insane. Yep. And that's been their honored, like they've honored that code where everybody else has sacrificed every single bit of honor for every single dollar they can achieve. No Man's Sky has a consistent, growing fan base.
Yeah.
Proof is literally in the reports, and nobody that has access to the reports is willing to go, maybe we should change our ways.
Yeah. Maybe. All right. Sean Penn to executive produce James Marcus Haney's Black Sunflowers, a Ukraine war documentary. The No Cameras Allowed filmmaker in his latest documentary captures a generation caught between youth and duty, life and death during their country's unending war with Russia. James Marcus Haney made his name as a filmmaker, sneaking into Coachella, Glastonbury, and other top music festivals by posing as press to get exclusive footage of pop stars and their performances. That need to gatecrash marquee festivals with his camera was captured in his 2014 feature documentary, No Cameras Allowed. Now Haney is headed to the Toronto Film Festival with Black Sunflowers, a feature documentary about Ukrainian youth coming of age and amid martial law as they move between underground raves and car racing on the home front and the brutal front lines of war against Russia. And the American filmmaker has Sean Penn on board to executive produce, The Hollywood Reporter has confirmed. Hollywood actor and activist Penn has put his name and face on the Ukrainian conflict before, especially in 2023, when he chronicled Russia's invasion of Ukraine on the ground in Kiev with Superpower. Co-directed with Aaron Kaufman, that war doc included interviews with President Vladimir Zelensky. The first images for Black Sunflowers, which will have a September 11th world premiere in Toronto, have young Ukrainians facing tragedy and duty as soldiers on the front lines while they find distraction on concert dance floors, in relationships, or bonding at a local watering hole. Working with a Ukrainian film crew, Haney captures an army truck driver who races his car down city streets back home, a young amputee soldier finding freedom on a high-energy rave dance floor despite a blade prosthesis, a young woman churning from nature photography to war photography amid the ruins of war, and still another young woman being trained to shoot a rifle as a generation of youth face compulsory military service. Haney, in a director's statement to the TIFF website, recalls first arriving in Ukraine as war reshaped everyday life. I was surprised to see how much normal life carried on despite the war. I couldn't help but think that mainstream media is missing half the story. Haney's film joins a slew of other Ukraine war documentaries, including Roman Lubai and Vladimir Taki's Time Machine Maiden, which bound at Sheffield Oscar-winning filmmakers Mistav, the new war film 2,000 Meters to Andrivka. God, I gotta work on my pronunciations. Anyway, so yeah, new Sean Penn war documentary about Ukraine.
Propaganda at this propaganda.
Probably.
It always is. Like, dude.
I mean, I thought O.P. Restrepo was pretty good, but that was just a pretty straightforward documentary about life, being a soldier in Afghanistan. Miami Vice 85. Whitney Peak joins Michael B. Jordan in Joseph Kosinski's crime thriller. Whitney Peak, one of the stars of the recent Gossip Girl reboot, has joined the cast of Universal's Miami Vice 85, being directed by Joseph Kosinski. Peak joins Michael B. Jordan and Austin Butler and Alden Ehrenreich in the feature, in which is eyeing a November production start and will shoot in New York and Miami. The new feature will explore the glamour and corruption of the mid-'80s Miami in a new version of the property inspired by the pilot episode of the landmark television series that influenced culture and set the style of everything from fashion to filmmaking. Miami Vice began life as the Anthony Yerkovich-created TV series starring Don Johnson and Philip Michael Thomas as two undercover Miami police officers known for their love of fast boats and pastel suits. It's really too bad you guys didn't get this production moving sooner, because you could have simultaneously released it with Grand Theft Auto 6. Seeing as, oh yeah. Hey, you want to talk about GTA 6 real quick, John?
I don't know what's going on with GTA 6. I saw your post.
Supposedly, it's out. All right, are you guys ready to see Leonida? H. Marie, I don't hear any enthusiasm.
Nope.
But gonna be honest, I hate it. Like, if this is it sucks. Straight up. This is terrible.
Dude, what are you talking about? One of the number one thing any game gets just ridiculed for.
Already had this. We already have this experience. It's called Grand Theft Auto 5. It's called the Los Angeles simulator with surrounding counties. This is now the Miami simulator with a couple of... First of all, no Key West. Dead on arrival for me. I ain't even gonna... even if Epic buys it for me for free, I might be like... So already problem number 1 is we got rid of the main attraction I was looking forward to. Problem number 2 is that all of the freaking, Tampa Bay and Fort Myers area and Naples has kind of been smushed into, I guess, Naples and then the upper northern part of Tampa and then no actual city region. No. We get Vice City and I'm sorry. If this is real, we have definitely, hold on. If this is real, the CEO definitely lied to us about most ambitious GTA yet. This is just freaking GTA 5 in Florida, and it's not even the good parts of Florida. It's a Miami game. Like Jacksonville. Where is it? Gone. No Port St. Lucie. No, nothing. I don't even know what these towns are going to be representative of. Maybe Daytona? But it looks like Orlando got canned as well. They were supposed to put Disney and Orlando in it.
Honestly, I feel like this photo was made to piss you off, and
I hope so. I really hope so. I will gladly come back to this clip later and admit, yeah, I overreacted. But until then,
GTA 6 has not released. GTA 5 has not released anything, or GTA Rockstar has not officially released anything for the map to date. Like, this seems to be piecemealed entirely by just
really
mostly like what
so.
they can get from it. But as far as like they haven't sanctioned this, they haven't agreed that this is where it's at. As far as I can tell, I'm looking at their main page now.
Oh yeah, no, this is a leak. This is not. This is
right, but it's not even a good leak because if you look at the photo itself, it's clearly piecemealed. Like,
oh yeah, you're talking the different screenshots that. So what I understand is that basically there's close-ups of some of these different regions to get it. Now, in a design of what Miami looks like, this is fine, but this needs to be accompanied by another giant city over here, and at least another giant city in here, if not a last giant city up here. Oh, and maybe another little city right over here. But
they're saying it reportedly leaked, but like to me,
I hope this is like a beta map,
especially with the August 27th Netflix release that's coming out. Like this feels like not even a beta map. Like this feels like what they used to say, okay, so we're gonna take GTA 5, and they took the GTA 5 map and they were like, now we're gonna we're gonna take all of these sections, and your group, you're gonna work on this city, and this is where you're gonna steal all of your assets from to build the new assets in the new engine.
Right.
And this is where you're gonna steal your, and so it's like,
so if this is the package for the Miami testers and how it integrates with surrounding area, I'm okay with that, because then there's probably going to be more land masses expanded, because then it's like you have a Miami team, you have a Keys team, you have a...
Well, dude, I don't know if you...
I don't even see where Port Gellhorn is, because it's not on here, unless this is supposed to be Gellhorn here.
So if there's a few people that have already generated websites that are supposedly like interactive maps for GTA 6.
Right, the map building project based on screenshots and leaks, yeah.
Yeah, and it does look similar to this, but if you zoom in, you realize that it's still twice the size of GTA 5. Like the distance between this zoom and the first street that you can see outside of these major highways is double the time to scroll. And that's the proof that it is much bigger, even if it's in the same shape. Like in the map maker, Key West is this little island right at the very left there that right in this picture looks fake. Like it looks faded out, but on the map project,
no, it looks like they got rid of it. Like it's not there. Like it was supposed to go here with the giant airbase.
Right, and the map project shows that it is there. That's why I say that like this photo was made to frustrate. Because I do feel like this, if anything, is a beta photo. Like this is what the map does look like fully zoomed out, because they don't want invisible walls like they've been practicing since the first GTA 5. That was the whole reason California was sectioned off into an island. So I can imagine them doing an island again, just so that you can still technically say there are no
I don't have an
walls.
issue being an island. What I have an issue with it is that it's missing a lot.
Well, that's what I'm saying is that you got to zoom all
Like,
the way in.
this is not a $100 game.
No, look at the map project. If we pull up the map project, it does look
Yes, but
substantially bigger.
The map project is, like I said, it's based on, and even that information's probably since changed out of the builds. So
No, actually, with this release, I've never seen the map project until today. I just Googled it. It looks similar to this, but when you start scrolling, it looks substantially more detailed and bigger.
all right, we'll pull it up here live. We're now going to the speculative State of Leonida map. Yeah, this is definitely a bit more hopeful. But that's
Right, so the leak didn't contain Key West.
No, it
But
cuts
it's a
off.
leak, and it looks like a beta map. And that's really what I'm trying to get at is we don't know when that leak comes from. The guy can say that this is what they were just working on. And it's like, yeah, your job had nothing to do with the most up-to-date build. Your job was to find this other bug that was in this build, and they needed you to double check.
Even this poor
if it was
Gellhorn
still
looks a little
persistent.
small for it, but still.
We don't know
Yeah, we don't.
why who did the leak or why, but this looks so much bigger because if you think about
Well, this is the area we don't know about yet, but
even the national park there looks twice as big as the little one in GTA 5.
yeah.
And that's really what I mean is
And this is technically combining the parts of Georgia into the state, by the way. Florida does not have any, there's hills in the panhandle, but that's it. There are no mountains in Florida.
Well, and honestly, this looks more like a thumb, which, if I'm remembering correctly, that's what Leonida in Red Dead Redemption 2 looked like.
I don't know. Having not played Red Dead Redemption 2 on the story, I don't know what Leonida looked like, but it's not.
Long.
Well, Leonida's not accessible online right now, so.
Yeah. Story's fun. It's been so long I cannot remember the map entirely. I do remember it does look like a goofy version of the United States. It does not look like the United States, and I think they've been very intentional about that this whole time.
That's fine. It doesn't. I'm not asking for a 1-to-1, but this. Yeah.
Well, no, that's why I go with this map. I think it's a bait and switch. I think it's meant to make you feel like there's less.
Really hope so, because
But-
this looks.
I don't know. Honestly, it
bigger.
feels.
I don't either. All right, we got to get to more news, and we got to talk about Lantern Season 1, Episode 1, and that's going to do it for tonight. All right, YouTube reveals view count changes that will track views the instant someone hits play on a video. YouTube has revealed a new count update. We'll see videos accumulate views the instant someone hits play. The Google social media platform announced it would rework how it tracks data for individual uploads with posts across social media. Starting August 24th, 2026, views will be counted the very moment someone clicks on a video, or, as YouTube puts it, from the very first frame. This new count strategy will be implemented across all formats across the globe. It falls in line with how the platform's short-form content branch Shorts works, which was taken into effect last year. Historically, we've used multiple view counting systems across different formats, YouTube explained. However, we've heard that creators want to eliminate this metric confusion and accurately understand their true exposure, which is why we're making this update. As noted by The Verge, Instagram and TikTok also tally views in a similar way. YouTube has toyed around with how it measures engagement in the past, but usually leaves a lot of guesswork for creators looking to keep track of who's watching their video and how long they're watching them. The change almost certainly exists to help amplify counts site-wide, but to those who use the platform, most may not notice much of a change under the hood. I'm going to be honest, I thought there was more to this than really going on, but it just sounds like instead of the 30 seconds you have to obligate, now you just click on it once, and hey, that counts as a view, I guess. John, you have any thoughts?
I don't know, man. Honestly, I don't know what this means because
it's more information for algorithm chasers, which we're not.
No, but that tracks. But at the same time, it's like, what was the old number? Like, I really feel like they've been so ambiguous with all the details. This is one of the few times where they've been clear, like, no, it's right at the very, very start. That starts the view. But, like, are you going to start telling me the people that view for 10, 15, 25, 35?
That'll all be
hour,
in the
and,
hidden
like,
data, yeah, on the
please,
studio.
because that would actually be useful, but it's not right now.
Right.
Know?
Right. All right.
And then that's really what I mean is, like, is this going to lead to more useful data, or is this just going to lead to, like I don't technically think it's more accurate view counts, because how many people have clicked play and be like, no, that's not what I wanted, you know? And I think that's one of the reasons why they did it the other way, was like, no, they have to actually commit to it for a few seconds, and then, you know, TikTokers are like, hey, by the way, we actually need it to be 1 second, because, like, we do something in the 1 second, and if, like, they click off in that one, then we'll change it up and do different things. And it's like, yeah, okay, that makes sense, but give me the other 45 minutes. Like, we hang out here for almost 2 hours. I would like to know where I'm dropping people off, because then I can actually bring the content that they liked back.
Yep. All right. Avengers Doomsday presale tickets are now outpacing Spider-Man Brand New Day. This should come as no surprise, with Brand New Day being really good. Now people are probably willing to give the movie another chance. And also with D23, you know, stuff and all the Comic-Con stuff going on. Avengers Doomsday presale tickets are reportedly outpacing Spider-Man Brand New Day. According to a new report from The Wrap, Avengers Doomsday is 65% ahead of Spider-Man Brand New Day's first 2 days of presales tickets, despite the fact that Doomsday won't release for 4 more months. Brand New Day's tickets went up about 45 days before the film's release, meaning there was more imminent demand for the movie. Tickets for Doomsday went live last month for 1,000 Infinity Vision approved screens, but last week Marvel opened up pre-sales for all theaters. The Wrap noted that although these sales reflect a certain level of demand, that demand is almost certainly coming from hardcore fans. It'll be interesting to see how things change as the film gets closer and more showtimes are added, once the runtime is locked and theaters have a better idea of how to schedule the movie throughout the holiday season. Given Brand New Day has gone on to make $2 billion and shattered all kinds of box office records, it's hard to tell if Doomsday's early momentum will result in it equaling or even surpassing Brand New Day. Much has been said over the last few years with regards to superhero fatigue and the overall declining state of the MCU, but a new Avengers film is hard to resist, especially when the features Doctor Doom and a bunch of iconic heroes from the past 26 years of Marvel's history. I mean, I don't know. It doesn't change, you know, whether or not it's a good story or not. You see, that's the thing. Marvel's been in decline because the content's getting stale, not because...
Dude, Marvel has not been in decline. Marvel released bad movies that deserved lower reception and didn't release good ones until just now. Like, I feel like a lot of people look at this like it's an actual, like, bar graph or like a line graph, but in the reality, it's way more like a plotted graph. Like, there are bad points. You do it bad, you get a bad review. Don't do the next one that way. Or the next 12, dumbass. Like, that's all we've ever said. Is, like, people that were diehards that really, you know, got a lot of their content from reviewing the bad Marvel movies for people like me who relied on them because I didn't want to risk it. Like, if you see a growth in Descent, don't meet Descent with the exact same thing you just delivered last time.
Yeah.
Duh. Like, to quote Einstein, everybody's favorite genius, doing the same thing over and over is the definition of insanity. Don't blame the graph. Don't blame the decline. Blame your own bad product, because then you can just repair the next one. You can learn and produce a better one next time and go, oops. And we go, oops, because we don't care, because it was a one-time blip. But if you go, actually, that last model is the new model and the only model we're going to produce, it's like, yeah, that's why everybody shits on the Prius.
Yeah.
You made it look that way. You're bad.
Yep. All right. We are now turning to the Lanterns portion of this show. We're going to read some of this article.
On that note, I'm gonna dip out.
All right.
Because I got to put the babies down, and it's perfect timing. And I love you.
Love you too, bro. We will see you next week for an actual Lanterns discussion, as well as our Spider Noir discussion and latest news and entertainment. All right. Lanterns star Kyle Chandler and Aaron Pierre talk the pilot shocker, early fears, and season 2 chances. This is, of course, going to contain spoilers for the Lanterns pilot, but I mean, 8 episodes to get through in a serial show. I mean, I don't know what we're really ruining here. The flash forward that closes the Lanterns series premiere was bound to strike a familiar chord with Kyle Chandler completists. It's reminiscent of another recent high-profile series in which one of his characters meets a prematurely shocking end. Chandler himself may have momentarily wondered whether he was being offered another Mayor of Kingstown-type opportunity, but showrunner Chris Mundy, together with co-writer Damian Lindorf and Tom King, quickly reassured him that this particular twist would be more or closely resemble the storytelling of Bloodline, the earlier series Mundy and Chandler had worked on together. That's where I recognized him from. The pilot, created by James Hawes and co-written by Mundy, Lindorf, and King, establishes the DC HBO series' multi-timeline structure. It introduces childhood flashbacks, a primary timeline set in 2016, and a future 2026 timeline, one where Aaron Pierre's Jon Stewart and Rushville, Nebraska Sheriff Kerry Kane investigate the murder of Chandler's Green Lantern, Hal Jordan, on the same high school football field where the three of them had worked another murder case a decade earlier. Like Bloodline's own inciting murder, this series will gradually catch the audience up to speed as to how the ring-powered space cop wound up catching a bullet. For Chandler, the bigger challenge was block shooting a non-linear series without having all the scripts available at first. If you're unfamiliar with shooting in blocks, it's basically when a production films multiple episodes at the same time in order to shoot out a location. The full storyline wasn't in front of us. It was described to us. Block shooting required a lot of faith and trust in the storyline, Chandler tells The Hollywood Reporter. As for the way they started it out, I thought it was a clever way of doing it and making a non-linear story. I liked the way it came out. It gave us a chance to set up our own traps and do it against the material sometimes to reveal more or less later. So it's like 3D chess. Pierre, who's already reprising the role of his aspiring Green Lantern and DCU architect James Gunn's upcoming Man of Tomorrow, advanced through 2024's audition process as his performance in Jerry Slunger's Rebel Ridge was earning rave reviews. Yet unlike his fearless Green Lantern trainee, he still felt considerable apprehension just as his career was taking flight. I immediately recognized the enormity of opportunity and the gift that it is to engage with, first and foremost, this character and this world. And being the first live-action Jon Stewart is also something that I recognize as the magnitude of, Pierre says. So it was very nerve-wracking, but I have a history and habit of intentionally seeking out things that unnerve me. Well, I will say this for the show, that Pierre is absolutely one of the best. Like, it's like Jon Stewart just kind of walked out of the animated series from the Justice League. But overall, I mean, this is a very, nice article, fluffing up the story and getting, basically talking about everything we watched. But H. Marie, I wanted to get your thoughts first.
I genuinely don't know how I feel about this show. You can see bits and pieces of the good HBO writing, and then you see more than just bits and pieces of the not so good HBO writing. They honestly should have released it in a set of 2, because that was not a way you should have ended an episode at all.
Yeah, it doesn't... I have to say that would this show bring me back if it was a Green Lantern show after that episode? Probably not. It's trying to do a lot to really entice you, but the problem is a lot of these characters are extremely cynical. Everybody hates each other, and they're trying to pull it off as though that's going to be okay. And the truth of the matter is, you have to like the characters. I feel like a lot of people watch the success of shows like Rick and Morty, and they think that that's supposed to somehow be the standard. And I will say, like, for a lot of what the show does right, the pacing's fine, the music is good. It's just, why are people so hateful and spiteful in this small town? Well, I mean, like, don't get me wrong, certain aspects of small town can be that way, but that's not like every small town everywhere, and it's kind of starts to play off more as like a brutal stereotype than, you know, a strong storytelling metric. Now, that said, this is 1 episode out of 8. I believe it's just 8. And so we'll see how the season goes. But I mean, if you're trying to get me excited for a second season, but the character dies, what do we? So we're just going to be watching him like follow Jon Stewart the whole time, or do we eventually get to a point where there's 3 lanterns on Earth? So I mean, that would be well, I don't know how much of a departure from lore that would be, but this show only makes sense to me right now if this is the Hal Jordan from the animated series, because that would explain why he's as cynical as he is at this point. It would also explain why we already have Guy Gardner, but based on the way they're doing the timeline, Guy might not show up until 2026 anyway, so we really don't know. Of course, if it turns out that's the plot twist is, oh yeah, Guy killed him and took the ring, then that's going to have some serious implications to have to get over. Lots of liberal use of the F-bomb, which to me, I don't know, there's a point in storytelling it can work. There's also a point where it just gets so overused and it's like, all right, you know, if I want to hear this, I'll just go sit at a bar in Key West, Florida. So it's just, it has moments that start to pull me back in, but then it has other moments that it turns that I'm just like, why am I watching this? Why am I going to watch this? Well, I'm going to watch this because it seems that the James Gunn universe may be coming to an end, and so I'll be curious to see how this it doesn't have me excited for more James Gunn, I'll put it to you that way. I can't, after this first episode, I can't recommend watching this show yet. You know, if you don't mind cynical, if you don't mind characters that you don't have to like, then sure, give it a try. But after 1 episode, I'm not totally sure I can be hooked yet. I'll give it the 3 episodes. I'll probably give it the full series and let you guys know. But I would say right now, if you're wanting to watch along with us, do so because you want to come have the discussion. That'll be fun for the discussion. That's my recommendation. So, H. Marie, any last thoughts on Lanterns?
Honestly, just want to see this next episode to see whether or not I'm going to waste my time finishing the show.
See. All right. How we treat death is, of course, just as important as how we treat life. And on this show, we do try to give proper acknowledgement when it happens, particularly when it's people that we least know or cared about. Actress Hayden Panettiere, most famously known for Save the Cheerleader, Save the World, has sadly passed away. She apparently, I think the cause of death was some kind of an overdose. I don't know if it's we've determined whether or not it's alcohol or drugs, but sadly, yeah, she was just about to release a tell-all memoir, which I do believe is still coming out, in which she gives her experiences in Hollywood, and a lot of it's not really as flattering. And I mean, why would it be? She was pretty much raised in this world, and as we've seen coming out with things from ranging from the Me Too movement to the Epstein files, there's any number of horrible things that she had to go through in life that may have ultimately contributed to this demise. Now, I know there's people that are saying there's conspiracy about it, and that is possible. Maybe there was something she was going to expose too close to certain people in power. I'm willing to follow the information on it. But it doesn't change the fact that she's dead. It doesn't change the fact that she's no longer going to be seen on screen. She's no longer going to be, she's no longer with us. And that's really, really too bad. So, Hannah, do you have a favorite Hayden Panettiere role at all?
To be honest, I really liked her in Heroes. I thought that was a good show. It was a very interesting role. Yeah, that's how I was introduced to her too.
Yeah, I think that was most of it. I went back and found out she was actually an up-and-coming Disney star as well. She actually did a lot of... she actually, I think, also voiced Dot in A Bug's Life, so that was fascinating to learn. But yeah, the thing is, though, is one of the big keys about it, though, is she admits openly about substance abuse, alcohol, and things. Guys, I'm not going to tell you that you should never ever use substance or any kind of vice, whether it's alcohol, weed, caffeine, or even cocaine, whatever your vice is. My advice is self-control. My advice is if you need a night to forget the world exists, that's okay, as long as you can accept that you have to come back to work tomorrow. You can't do a whole lot of activism and changing the world if you're dead. And you're not going to solve your problems with substances. You're going to, unless the problem is you living, of course, then you will solve your problem quite easily. And that's one of the bigger takeaways, is whether there's conspiracy or foul play behind her death, it doesn't change the fact that she had admitted to having problems. And the only way to control your problems is to accept that you need to control them. And it's okay to use these vices to help in life from time to time. Okay? Things get overwhelming. Work schedules get hard. Money demands get hard. Bills get hard. Things get hard. I am in agreement that the, straight people out there who say, well, I don't need those things to get by in life. Good for you. You're not everybody. You're not the standard. But we also don't want death and dying at age 36 to be the standard either. And so some people, do need control. Some people do need to quit substance abuses altogether. And maybe Hayden probably needed to put down the bottle for good. And she did. And, here we are. Because even she knew that alcohol, especially, is a bit of a random personality generator. Or a random number generator for your personality. A lot of people find that there's strength in having an edge on alcohol, and I'm going to be honest with you, as somebody who used to rely on it thinking that there's strength, there's not. It's harmful. It damages your body. It hurts your soul, and it hurts the people around you. Now, it can be fun, and I still enjoy alcohol. I'm anti-prohibition, absolutely. But I am very much pro self-control, and I'm very much pro within your limits. And, when the substances aren't solving your issues, that means it's time to slow down and find a real solution that does. Otherwise, that's it. Well, thank everybody for watching. Simon Dusk, appreciate you keeping the stream on in the background. And, as I said, please join us next week. We will continue our discussion on lanterns. We also have a lot going on in, and of course our entertainment information. H. Marie, have any last words to say before we leave?
No, but I talked more than I had intended tonight. I hope everyone was able to hear me. I had a couple teeth pulled this week. Yay!
You did great, as always, and, thankful you're here. I'm Peter York, she's H. Marie. Join us next week. We'll see you then. Good night. This has been the Entertainment Information Intelligence Podcast from the Writer Brothers. The Writer Brothers, authenticity is our algorithm. Good night.